Which white balance settings should you use for landscape photography? In my opinion, white balance is one of the most overrated controls on a digital camera. Some of you might be confused about how to set it up correctly, and I'm pretty sure at some point you got lost in a forum thread or social media post where some photographers argue about what's the best white balance setting for each scene. You should use this or that in-camera preset, or just use the auto white balance and you're good to go. Or you should always set the white balance manually in camera using the Kelvin value, or a gray card, or even the color checker. Personally, one camera setting I never mess with when I'm shooting outdoors is the white balance. Lots of people get hung up on white balance and they tend to overthink it. Except for a few specific scenarios, I keep it simple. Shooting RAW, setting the white balance to daylight in camera, and tweaking it in Capture One or Lightroom if needed. That's it. In this video I'll break down why sticking to this simple approach helps me to get the perfect color balance and keep color consistency in my landscape images. Hi everyone, what's going on? Welcome to my channel. I'm Andrea Livieri and I use my over 10 years of experience as a professional travel and landscape photographer to teach people photography through workshops and online courses, helping them unleash their uniqueness and create the photos that best represent their vision. I find working with colors to be one of the most difficult aspects of photography, and the key to accurate colors is a good white balance. White balance is a setting that can be sometimes confusing, and I have found it to be a common problem among some of my students. White balance in photography involves adjusting and fine-tuning the color in an image. And one of the most beneficial things about white balance adjustments is that it can significantly affect a landscape image's overall appearance, feeling, and mood, with a few minor tweaks. Unlike other photography genres, landscape photography has many freedoms when it comes to white balance. If you click on this video, I guess you are already somewhat familiar with white balance, but if not, let me explain very quickly what is it. Different lights have different colors. Some are warm and yellowish, and some are cool and bluish. That changes how the colors of things look in photos. Let's take a look at this sequence of images I took last January during my winter workshops in the Dolomites. You can see beautiful transitions from the late afternoon light to the blue hour. Our eyes have a property called color consistency that makes objects appear to have the same color regardless of the color of the lights they are in. So our eye naturally adjusts for temperature of the light, enabling us to always perceive it as white or neutral. But cameras are not that smart, so we have to let them know what kind of light we are using. To overcome this problem, camera manufacturers invented the auto white balance, which attempts to mimic the color consistency property of our visual system. Put another way, it attempts to remove any color casts produced by the different temperature of light so that the image looks more natural. The temperature of light is measured in degrees Kelvin, and it ranges from warm to cool. Different light sources have different color temperatures, and they can affect how your camera perceives the colors in your scene. For example, sunlight has a color temperature of around 5500 Kelvin, while shade under a cool blue sky has a higher color temperature of around 7500 Kelvin. Most cameras have several presets white balance modes that you can choose from. Each mode has a different color temperature value that corresponds to a typical light condition. If you don't adjust your white balance correctly, your image may look too warm or too cool, and the colors may not be accurate. For example, if you shoot a sunset with a white balance setting that is too cool, your image may look bluish and lose the warm tones of the sky. On the other hand, if you shoot a snow scene with a white balance setting that is too warm, your image may look yellowish and lose the cold tones of the snow. There are two ways to adjust your white balance, in camera and in post-processing. In camera means that you set your white balance before you take the picture, while in post-processing means that you adjust it after you import your images to your computer. Shooting RAW, you have complete control over white balance when editing the image. If you shoot JPEG though, the white balance settings are backed into the image data, and you will never have quite the same amounts of flexibility as you would if you were using RAW. That's one of the main key reasons why I always shoot RAW. Speaking about the auto white balance, as useful as it can be, it's not a good tool for landscape photographers. For example, if we are shooting at sunset, we might want to preserve those warm hues of the sun. Similarly, if we are shooting during the blue hour, we might want our images to have a cool and calm feeling. If you choose out white balance, the camera will think, oh, you are shooting under a tungsten light and want me to cool down the image. When shooting landscapes, I always set the white balance to daylight. If I'm lucky enough to catch the stunning warm light illuminating a snow-capped peak at sunrise, I want to capture that glow. Setting the white balance to daylight, the camera records the colors that are actually present in the scene without altering them. It essentially tells the camera, record the wavelengths actually present in the scene and don't mess around with the color. Color temperature can have a significant impact on the look of your landscapes. For instance, this is the same scene captured with a slightly different framing and at different time during the sunrise, and locking the white balance to daylight allowed me to consistently record the changing color cast of the light. What would have happened if we used the in-camera out white balance? The out white balance analyzes the entire scene in front of the camera, and its goal is to dynamically neutralize any color cast. This sequence illustrates the dramatic effect that different white balance settings can have on a scene. As you can see now, all three shots look very alike, and the unique and beautiful color cast of each version has vanished, altering the emotion and the atmosphere of the image. I know, I'm not actually changing the in-camera white balance, I'm just simulating it in Capture One. However, the result you would achieve is quite similar to using the in-camera out white balance. So this is the main reason why using an automated white balance adjustment is not actually a smart decision. When we are out there shooting sunrise and sunset scenes, we really want to stick with that natural daylight setting, not the auto setting. There are times when I rely on auto white balance, particularly indoors, I would say. For example, here are some interior shots from a beautiful project I collaborated on with the Sweden Tourist Board last summer. These type of shots require a very different approach, as I had to work with different and more complex light scenarios and artificial lights, and where colors need to be more accurate. That being said, it doesn't mean when post-processing the shots I will leave the white balance completely untouched, but starting from a fixed reference allows me to better decide the direction to take the shot, whether to make it a bit warmer or cooler based on my creative vision. This is exactly the same approach I adopt when filming videos with a drone. I always set the white balance to daylight and then I will adjust it on the editing stage if needed. And about that, let me spend a few seconds to thank The Answer, which provides me with a copy of their film simulation plugin for Final Cut. For those of you that are not aware of The Answer, it's a complete and comprehensive tool for color grading and film emulation, which recreates all the main characteristics of different films, and it's available for different platforms. In full disclosure, I have not been paid for this video. I genuinely enjoy the software. I've been using it extensively to edit all my videos footage, and I think it's a pretty awesome tool for photographers and videographers who want to get really professional looks in a very streamlined way. It has significantly reduced my editing time and simplified the process of matching footage from my drone with my Fujifilm cameras without using any specific conversion lots that require multiple steps to be edited correctly. You can find a link in the video description below to download a free trial of The Answer along with a discount code to help you start your journey with this amazing software. Okay, let's go back to the tutorial. You might be asking, what about the cloudy and shade settings? The cloudy and shade settings each have their own purpose. The cloudy setting is great for overcast days. I mean, not just when there are a few puffy clouds in the sky, but when it's truly overcast, like in this shot here, for example. Using the cloudy setting, we will add a touch of yellow to counteract the dominant blue tones we have on cloudy days. I've heard many photographers say, oh, when I shoot sunrises and sunsets, I just switch to the white balance to cloudy. Please, don't do it. The thing is, the cloudy setting tends to add more warmth to your shot. But here is the deal. Sunrises and sunsets often have this beautiful mix of blue and warm tones. So if you set the white balance to cloudy mode by default, you're gonna end up pumping up those warm tones while losing out on the richness of the blue tones in the sky. You're basically desaturating the blue tones in the sky. In my opinion, it's not a very good idea. Open shade is something we experience a lot in mountains, not just much in flat areas. But open shade is when you can see, but there is no sunlight hitting you. Let's take this example. The warm light of the sun illuminates the entire landscape. We have a uniform light temperature for the full scene. In the second example, the sun is not able to penetrate this mountain to get down into the valley, so the only light that this part of the landscape is receiving is the light coming from the blue sky overhead. That's why we have a strong blue color cast. Here is a waterfall shot I've taken in Scotland, and you can see how blue it is. That's because the only illumination there was from the sky. Switching the white balance to the shade preset, it clears the color cast, and we can now appreciate a better color separation and more neutral tones. Alright, before wrapping up, I want to go through some more quick example and give you an overall idea of the common different scenarios where I always use the daylight setting. In this first image, it does a pretty good job with nice and neutral whites. If we were to use the eyedropper tool to click over the white snow hit by the dark light, you can see it just warms the white balance up a notch. It's not a drastic change, but it's a noticeable one. Anyway, I prefer the cooler feeling. This is a drone shot from the Azores, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, a full sunshine, blue sky, 51-50 Kelvin and +9 in the magenta. Probably I would increase the temperature just a hair, like that, and we have a very natural look. Nice blues in the sky and the ocean. Let's try for a second the out white balance mode, and you can see the image looks off and we lost those lovely deep blues. In this shot we have got a very strong blue cast. This has been captured about half an hour before sunrise. If we try to boost the contrast, you can see the intensity of the blue becomes overwhelmingly strong. So this is where I add a touch of warmth to offset the strong blue cast and achieve a cooler tone that's more subtle, yet still conveys a sense of coolness. The last thing you will want to do is completely remove the blue cast using the eyedropper tool, for instance by sampling one of the white areas. It's not a very good idea. Here is another cool example, a photo taken at sunrise with pretty purple and magenta shades in the sky. If we were to try to white balance here on the snow, then all those pastel colors are lost. And I see this mistake a lot with these shots taken before sunrise or before dawn. With a too warm white balance, you lose all the colors nuances and the magenta pinky tone starts to look kind of orangey. On this next shot, we have got different light conditions. The color balance looks absolutely great. We can see the lovely blue tonality in the sky and the subtle pink hues in the clouds. Additionally, the warm orange tones of the rock in direct sunlight creates a beautiful color contrast with the blue tones in the shadowy areas. Another example here, we have got a beautiful color range of reds and oranges contrasting with the cooler blue shadows of the fjords in the foreground. Again, the daylight setting provides the best result for a nice and neutral color separation. If we were to use a warmer or cooler temperature, the result wouldn't be great at all. Color temperature can hugely influence the look and feel of your landscape photo, so don't underestimate its importance. Of course, there are other specific scenarios where white balance requires further consideration, but the daylight settings allows me to always get an excellent foundation and color balance for almost 90% of my images. I hope you found this video useful. If you are into landscape photography and enjoy my work, I'd love to have you join me on a workshop. We have only a few free spots on the workshops for 2024, so check out my website for details on all the upcoming trips, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have got any questions. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!